Hello guys, my name is Ahmed Ali for the unscripted talks here in Dub Radio. President William Ruto of Kenya has issued enough threats to the protesters, warning them that enough is enough and that any kind of protest will be met with a very strong opposition energy as he vows to crush the anti-government protests. This comes just a day to the Ruto must go protest that has been scheduled for Tuesday, 23rd March to occupy parliament and various government institutions. Now, what does this mean? Uh, the president was yesterday seen to continue with his spree of, if not flying, he's lying. So the president has become a perennial liar, someone who cannot just stay for some time without deceiving the masses. The president was just heard in Bomet saying that he actually called for a dialogue with the Gen Zs, but they evaded him. He even called them on X Space and nobody turned up. He even, because he's calling them formless, faceless, I don't know, all kind of less things, shapeless. Unfortunately, that was not true. When the president actually called for that meeting on X Space, Kenyans did turn out for over 2 hours until he's the one who actually begged to leave as he was to attend to a certain national meeting. You understand? So yesterday went to Bomet and decided to deceive the people again. Yeah, we know demonstrations are well enshrined in the constitution, right? This is what he said. Yeah, he issued the strongest warning, vowing to stop demos and crash, which he terms as the tyranny of anonymous, faceless, formless, sponsored people. So he talked so tough that he was vowing to protect the nation. So this is what he said verbatim. I want to promise you that there will be no more protest. They are going to stop. Enough is enough. So how do you reach a point and say that the constitution has been applied so much, so we need to defy it? So when does the freedom of expression stop? Article 33, 34, and 35 of the Constitution. We have the freedom of the press. We have the freedom of expression. These are peaceful protesters. They haven't burnt anybody's, wealth. They haven't touched anybody's wealth. They are very peacefully protesting. And now you want to deny them that right? It is so surprising. Anyway, apart from that, I just did some digging with regards to the persons who are recycled, the names who are recycled that he was proposing to be back on the cabinet. And I took three. One was Duale, two was Kindiki, and the third was Ali's Wahome. What was I digging into them? Because I don't want to wait for Parliament to the Commission to start interviewing them of the year past, yet their past is known. So I was very specific to come out with the scandals that these three have been involved in. Now, when we start with Kindiki, there is a piece that I got from the Standard newspaper that was written 7 years ago. Yeah. And the title was Senate Majority Leader Kindiki received 500,000 NYS money from Murkomen's law firm, MPs told them. Who again is being brought into this? Murkomen. So currently, Kindiki has been, who was the former CS for Interior, and lost their job when the cabinet was dissolved. Now proposed again into the same cabinet. Yet he's a state officer who has been accused of benefiting from corruption proceeds. Yeah. So, and then he was sucked into the National Youth Service scandal. You understand? And the witness in these confirmed that actually 500,000, yeah, were actually sent to one of the farms, yeah, to Professor Kindiki, and the farm that paid that money was owned by Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen by then, 7 years ago. So there was this man known as Hilary Sigay, who was a managing partner with the law firm. He claimed that the lawmaker actually received part of the money drawn from the account operated on behalf of Out of the Box Solutions, which was hired to provide publicity services to Ministry of Devolution. So the funny thing is that the witness could not explain as to why Kindiki himself was paid the money in one of those web transactions that were questioned by MPs as they attempted to establish as to why the law firm made that transaction. You understand? And the witness also said that he cannot disclose because that is a client confidentiality. But we all know this. Is it so tough to mention that I was paid this money to undertake this service? Is it a secret how the government uses its money? Because right now people are demanding for public audit. So tell me, where does that stop? Because if you're using public money, everything should be public. We need accountability. We need to know when and where and what for was the money used for. You understand? These are issues accountability. I got some people saying that even the people who are protesting don't know why they are protesting. My friend, you are them. People are demanding for accountability. People want transparency. People want competent leaders to be in those leadership positions. And why the government is so mad in trying to find who is funding these protests is because the application of the 48 laws of power is becoming irrelevant because they don't know whom to approach. It is simply organic. The Kenyans are telling you, do the right thing and we shall be in good books. You understand? And I liked one piece whereby I watched Okia Omtata, the governor, who was saying in 10 years' time, if Ruto is not careful, he will be in jail. Let us cross to Aden Duale, who again is a recycled name in the cabinet. The same ministry that he was in, or he was heading as the cabinet secretary, it is the same ministry that he's been put into, the Ministry of Defense. You remember there was an audit scandal, yeah, that was involving Aden Duale and Ikwe Eturo, yeah, back 8 years ago, yeah, 8 years ago. The Auditor General exposed top leaders in the August House for spending public funds but failing to account for them. So, according to Edward Ouko, some of the leaders failed to surrender the balance of funds to the accountant in parliament. You know, when MPs go to certain functions, yeah, they're allocated. I don't know, in institutions we call them PADM, yeah. So you need to provide receipts and evidence of how you've spent that money. So most of the people who were named in that scandal was the Senate Speaker by then 8 years ago, Ikwe Oturo, Deputy Speaker Joyce Laboso, Majority Leader Aden Duale, and Senate Deputy Majority Leader Kipchumba Murkomen. Now, Murkomen being mentioned again in this. And remember, he also served as a state officer while his hands were being mad for benefiting on proceeds of corruption. So there were a total of 100 MPs who violated the country's money laws and regulation regarding accounting for interest. So the money that is in question that supposedly was squandered was 101 million. Yeah. So learning from the bosses, 99 staff of parliament are also on the spot. So the impress said to, yes, that is 101 million. So the Auditor General also exposed another scandal where unarmed MPs went abroad for trips paid by the taxpayer. They took extra money for upkeep and other daily allowances, but when they came back, they failed to give receipts on how they spent the money. Yeah. So you see, we are demanding for accountability. Is that too much to ask? So others filed for allowances, but there are no records that they took the foreign trips, where 79 million was paid to the firms for air tickets. So the report table in the House also pointed out fictitious procurement of goods and services worth 81 million. Purchase of fake goods, 81 million. Guys, that is how it is. That is how it is. So it says that the PSC, which is the Parliamentary Service Commission, and some House committees such as the Public Investment Committee were also on the spotlight. So according to OCO, the National Assembly Public Investment Committee, chaired by Elders MP Adan Kainan, by then, this is 8 years ago actually, could also not support payment of 4.4 million spending with the relevant documentation of attendees to meeting. Now, to be very specific, Eturo was to be cleared or give receipts or accountability on how he spent 989,000. Laboso was to give how he spent 48,000. Duale was to give on how he spent 450,000, and Murkomen 899,000. They were to give how they did spend their money. Now you can see how much public money is being dished outside there, and when Mwananchi tries to speak out, it is turned as violence against the state, and now the president is issuing threats. You know, the internet never forgets. Whatever you do in the dark, whatever you do in the dark shall eventually come into light. As they do say, lies do expire, but the truth shall always shine. Alice Wahome, whose name also has been proposed for the CS position, as if there is deficiency of competent persons in Kenya who can hold those offices confidently and perform competently. In the land ministry, water ministry, corruption cases were hand in hand targeting Alice Wahome. He was actively being associated with corruption in the water ministry and in the lands ministry. And we have sources suggesting that her involvement in land scandals reported to both the police and the EACC have directly contributed to these malpractices. So it is clear that Wahome's leadership has been marred by accusations of, fostering ethnic divisions and undermining progress towards national unity. These are kind of people who take the country as a company and they sharehold big chunks, So when other people speak, it's as if they're not supposed to give or to air out their grievances. So allegations of massive corruption in the water ministry reportedly prompted President William Ruto to reassign her to the lands ministry. That is the most recent, Before he was appointed into CS, he was actually before the cabinet was dissolved. He was in the water ministry, but again, it forced the president to transfer to the lands ministry. Incompetency being rewarded with incompetency, where she continued to face claims of siphoning off billions until her dismissal during the cabinet overhaul, when the president just dissolved the cabinet. That is not the end. Alice Wahome has also been seen into conflicts with senior officials, including a notable dispute with the principal secretary, Nixon Korir, regarding ministry operations, also complicated the tenure. And you can see also her role in the implementation of the Ardhi Sasa system, which was actually intended to streamline land transaction, was tainted by allegations of bribery and corruption. But anyway, no problem, because even the president himself has been accused of so so many benefits from corruption proceeds. It's been taken to court, not one, not twice. It's been done so many times. So what do you expect? You put, some people say you set a thief to catch a thief. Unfortunately, that hasn't worked. So when you see the youngsters, the Gen Zs and the millennials going to the streets, it is not in vain. People are fighting for accountability. People want transparency. We want to see how the tax collectors' money is being used. And the president, you cannot stop a revolution whose time has come. The constitution allows people to peacefully picket, to peacefully protest, so long as they are not going to destroy any property, so long as there are not going to be any distractions. So, kindly tell your police, to offer protection for the protesters instead of using excessive force, tear gassing them, unaliving them with live rounds of ammunition. It will only add it. And Mr. President, when there are too much demonstrations, do you know it's your administration that is losing? Investors are not going to come to Kenya. Tourists are not going to come here because they will simply say Kenya is unsafe for investment and safe for business. So it's either you listen to what the people want, because Article 1 of the Constitution gives that sovereign power to the people. Viva, a luta continua. Vox Populi, Vox de Dio. Ahmed Khalif is my name for the unscripted talks here in Dub Radio. Now, if you like content of this nature, kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel, press the notification button, so anytime that we are live, you'll be the very first person to be notified, or even when we upload any content. On Facebook, follow us also. If you're watching from Facebook, like, view, share, comment, so that we can grow together. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dub Radio ndio mpango mzima.